cannot be doing this alone. You do need those people who are on the ground, who know the communities well, who've grown up in the communities, the grandmothers, fathers, everybody there. Are there any particular characters that have really seen a bit of a life change because of being involved with Mr. Green Africa?
Let's start with just core employees. Me being from Switzerland, deep diving into Kenyan context, Kenyan culture, communication skills, etc. I wouldn't have been able to do it without a strong team members who truly believed in the mission of Mr. Green Africa, the purpose of what we want to do. So we were super blessed with having, great skilled people that contribute with their knowledge, with their passion, and engaging with the community. And we started with 1 employee, and now we're at 130, right? So all those folks, from production workers who are still with us, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are still since day one. And then we have instances with waste pickers as well. We have a waste picker lady who's now an employee of Mr. Green Africa, right? So the transition from being a supplier getting paid per kilo to now being so involved into getting a full-time job with Mr. Green Africa. So we're so very much ingrained and entrenched in the value chain in the community where we create opportunities. So and that's obviously one of the key passions that keeps us driving and pushing for becoming bigger, better.
And let's head on to the Transform initiative and how there's been that collaboration with Mr. Green Africa. How has it helped you? Like, what journey have you gone on using Transform?
We were super blessed to have the opportunity to be exposed to Unilever and start a partnership very early on in 2016 and creating a joint vision of how can we create high quality recycled, locally produced, locally collected, and bring it back into the packaging. And those conversations, they led to us to also talk to the Transform team. And even today, I would argue we're not finished with building the business. We have this ambidextrous growth company. On one hand, we have proven a core business where we buy plastic waste from waste pickers, we transform it into high quality recycled, and we sell it back into industrial supply chains and brand owner supply chains. There's still many layers that we can build on. And one of the key things that we started working on with Transform that allowed us to be a bit more experimentative about how can we build the business, how can we further develop the business, and that especially is on the collection side. So today, when we look at collection and we look at the waste space in general in many global South countries, but also Kenya, is you have on one side you have an informal market that is already engaged into picking waste that has value, selling it on into the informal supply chains, etc., where Mr. Green Africa is a big market player in. But if we look at the grand scheme of the things and the macros, today, this informal market, if we're generous, can maybe capture 20% of all the waste that is being collected. So the 80% is what is being littered, is going into the oceans, into the rivers, into the environment that you can see as kind of the pollution. Our thesis is that the only way to tackle these other 80% is to also engage the waste producers, i.e. the consumers. And when we pitched this to the Transform team and said, look, we would love to experiment around this space, how can we also incentivize consumers? How can we make consumers part of the value chain? That Transform funding enabled us to take that risk and experiment around that basis.
And it wasn't just about the funding, so it wasn't just about money, it was also about advice, is that right?
There's obviously a relationship between Transform and Unilever. So, it all tied back into the broader vision of Mr. Green Africa and Unilever together, advancing and creating first packaging made out of 100% recycled in the Kenyan market. So going through this transition to buy locally, to process locally, and bring it back into a packaging for Unilever, that takes a lot of engagement with different stakeholders within a big corporation. And I think just this collaboration on that level and the joint vision enabled us to have access and have the support.